Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's out and about today. We're going to talk about Genshin Impact. We're going to talk about voice actors, MiHoYo, all the controversy. We know that a lot of video game voice actors are on strike now because they've got the SAG-AFTRA voice actor strike. And the reason they're doing that, they claim, is they want protection against AI. What I believe is going on is they're actually making a damn good case to replace themselves with AI because they've been on strike for, 8 months, 9 months now? And it seems like a lot of these companies are just stepping over these Western voice actors. It's interesting, though. They're starting to get threats, some of the voice actors, I guess. I got to look into this. We're going to talk about this in the bigger picture of, people are like, why is Clownfish TV so anti-union? Well, look at what's happened over the last couple of years, right? Because of the strikes, Hollywood is in a decimated state right now. No pun intended. California is a decimated state. Productions are moving out of state. They're working with more and more non-union talent. They're going overseas to get work, especially in animation. They're going overseas, outsourcing, looking more and more intently at AI because AI don't talk back, right? And, we're going to talk about some other instances too, not just the Genshin Impact voice actor, but the blowback that people who cross the picket line get. The WGA is in a kerfuffle right now with 4 writers they accused of breaking the guild rules during the strike. We saw what happened to Drew Barrymore. She wasn't technically breaking any rules, but she decided to go forward with her show to keep her people employed. And she wasn't actually subject to the rules. She wasn't got any writers on staff or whatever. And she just got destroyed by the mainstream media. She had to, didn't have to, but she did. She put on some teary-eyed apology, and she was like, I don't understand what I did wrong. We're not using writers. Well, no, you're supposed to just stop everything you're doing. You're not supposed to even talk about, which I thought was incredibly stupid. You're not even allowed to talk about productions you worked on 20 years ago. We saw guys like Zach Levi. He was at a comic convention. They were asking him about Chuck, and he couldn't talk about Chuck, even though Chuck, was like, had been out of production like 15, 20 years at that point. He wasn't allowed to talk about it because it was a studio project, right? Jamie Lee Curtis, she got attacked for just showing up at San Diego Comic-Con. So it's ridiculous. And what they do is they control their people to control the flow of spice. And I think the game studios, especially a company like MiHoYo, which is out of China, they're just going to step right over them. And I think what's going to happen, this is my opinion, what is going to happen is that people are going to realize that they need to be cutting their own deals, not working with a union, because there really is not much of an advantage to working with a union when everything is being outsourced anyway, and you're kind of on your own anyway. And if you step out of line, you have to deal with them. So this is where I have an issue. Like I'm not against unions if you have legitimately shitty working conditions and you all get together and decide like, hey, yeah, we're working in the coal mines. It's unsafe. People are dying. We're working, 17 hours a day. They got 12-year-olds down here. You know what I'm saying? That's a totally different situation. But I've seen in recent years, especially in the media space, I've seen unions be abused. We saw this with comics, with Image Comics. They had people that worked in the office wanted to unionize, and they also wanted to have some say over what got published. The same thing happened at Kickstarter. They unionized. It wasn't necessarily for better working conditions or better pay. It was about controlling what the company was allowed to put out, and they were not the owners of the company, right? So yeah, I mean, it's really gotten to a place where I think unions are being used as a control. Well, some people argue it's always been used as a control mechanism, but it is because it's like you can't work in Hollywood or most places in Hollywood without cutting a deal with the unions because they control the talent. But this is ending. And I think honestly, the Hollywood studios, I think they're going to like look for every opportunity they can to do an end run around the unions, because it's not just a money thing. Again, it's a control thing. They want to be like, they're the ones plunking down hundreds of millions of dollars on a movie. They want to control what they get to do, how they get to do it. You either take the job, yes or no, right? And so I think these unions are going to be pretty much obsolete within the next decade, especially after the last strike, because all the people in Hollywood, they all believed they were going to be better off. They were going to be better off if they all went on strike all at once. And all that did was send a signal to company owners, to studios, that they needed to have a plan B. And they worked very quickly on a plan B. And the same thing's happening with voice actors. I don't think they're going to get very far. Sony shot across the bow with Aloy. They did an AI interactive demo of her with a different voice. It wasn't the voice actress. And I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But she was freaked out, and she should be freaked out because they were showing you how easily replaced you are. Yeah. So it's like everybody's on borrowed time now. And you just basically hastened, in my opinion, you hastened your own demise. And I think a lot of people in Hollywood are seeing this because they're still not working. They haven't gone back to work, right? Wasn't that the promise? You listened to the unions, you were supposed to go back to work and everybody's going to be making money hand over fist. And no, like 70% of Hollywood's out of work right now. I mean, the people that are getting work are getting paid more. So you basically went on strike to make sure somebody else got paid more, and you are looking at maybe losing your home, having to relocate, having to change careers. You know, was it worth it? I'm just saying, was it worth it? So I think we're going to have public opinion, professional opinion on unions change, and they did it to themselves. The double strike, I believe, definitely was the kill shot for a lot of people's interest in joining a union. If you got to look at examples of people who are successful, Sylvester Stallone, George Lucas, both of them quit the union and they were fine. You know, not everybody is a George Lucas or Sylvester Stallone, but you can do it. And especially if things are going to go like Texas or whatever, you're going to have to start cutting your own deals. Anyway, that's my long-winded explanation as to why I'm quote unquote anti-union. We are actually eligible to join. They were trying to get social media personalities, podcasters and YouTubers of a certain size to stand with Hollywood, and they were going to tell us what we could and could not cover. And I told them to go fuck themselves. I guess I'm not gonna play ball. And this is why we're gonna look at why unions, current day unions, kind of suck. They kind of suck, guys. This is so I'm going to try to make sense of this. I am not a huge Genshin Impact player. I played it a couple of years ago, a little bit, but I'm not a huge Genshin fan. So I'm sure I'm going to have Genshin people jump into the comments and be like, oh, you got it all wrong. This character does. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to make sense of the situation. As I understand it, one of the voice actors is getting threatening letters from the Screen Actors Guild for going there. And we've already seen that they've started replacing their English voice actors because people aren't playing Genshin for the voice acting. Let's be honest. I mean, you may like the voice actors, right? But it's a global franchise. English is only one of the languages. It's a Chinese company. They don't give a shit. If you're going to be a problem, they don't give a shit. They'll step over you. And they're going to look at the situation too. Before this, all the English voice actors were trying to shame them for having, was it the Natlan region? Was that what it was? Where they thought, California actors thought that those characters should be darker skinned, and they were trying to shame MiHoYo. It's like, who do you think you're dealing with? I mean, seriously. Who do you think you're dealing with? Like, just take the job, take the money, or don't. It's really that simple. So they're getting rid of people. I think they're looking for an excuse to get rid of them. If I'm being honest. So this comes from Sportskeeda. I'm sick of this shit. Venti VA from Genshin Impact accuses SAG of sending threatening letters with no recent updates regarding the Genshin Impact Kinich VA controversy that was front page even a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so that was, if I remember correctly, that voice actor got replaced, and they started attacking, the other voice actor started attacking the replacement as being a scab, but it turned out the replacement was actually a Japanese guy and he was not part of the union, but they were still attacking him. and that whole thing. And then there was like nothing on it after that. It just disappeared. And we're going to talk about, other people apparently being replaced. They said things have quieted down. However, a large majority of the English voice actors in the game are yet to return to their post, meaning that characters are still going unvoiced in the dub. Are they? It looks like they're already replacing them. They started replacing them. So, and of course they are. That show has to go on, right? Meanwhile, the upcoming Genshin Impact 5.6 update is scheduled to feature major Archon quests comprising characters such as Venti, Albedo, Kaya, Jean, etc. I'm probably getting these names wrong. Like I said, I don't play. I've played a couple of times. It's not my thing, but that's okay. That's okay. While players are uncertain regarding which characters will be voiced in the quest, Venti's voice actor Erica Harlocker Stone has spoken up in regards to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike, mentioning, "I'm sick of this shit." So last I wasn't able to figure things out for 5.6. Yeah, you're going to be voicing Venti in the 5.6 patch. Alas, I wasn't. Is she like a barista or something? So I just keep thinking Starbucks. Anyway, so I wasn't able to figure things out for 5.6, but the politics as an actor are very annoying. I'll be back soon. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. This is on Reddit. I'll be back soon. When asked on TikTok whether she'd be voicing Venti, she replied she hadn't been able to figure things out. Yeah, she's not going to be lending her voice. Oh, okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Reddit. They have it. Venti voice actor says SAG has been sending her threatening letters. Okay, not surprised. At least some of the other voice actors will be back in 5.7, and she'll cover everything she missed after the mess is over. So yeah, basically she thinks when this deal gets worked out that she'll be back, but they're already replacing people. So, I don't know. She says, I think so. SAG has been sending threatening letters. Yeah. SAG has been sending threatening letters. So it's been very difficult to navigate, but they're rude to me. And I'm sick of this shit. So LOL. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. That is really interesting. So it sounds to me like she was maybe like, yeah, I'll come back. And SAG was like, don't you dare. This is Reddit. Reddit is mostly pretty far left. And they're even like, if your union is threatening you, they're not, they're not good for you. This person here said, wow, I'm kind of shocked she'd speak up about it. Kudos to her. I can't imagine that SAG and its trolls are going to appreciate it. If voice actors are being threatened into not voicing the game, I'm hoping they can find a way to return. Not all these voice actors are terrible people. When your union is deliberately ruining your career, they sure as hell aren't working for you. That is how I feel. I am not unilaterally anti-union. I want to be very clear on that. Actually, Geeky was in a union. She was a teacher for years. She was unionized. And there are different places I've worked at where, there's the option of joining a union if you wanted to. I never did. I always wanted to cut my own deals, and I didn't want to have to be beholden to them. So whatever. But, this is what I'm talking about. These Hollywood unions have actually cost their members jobs and opportunities in the long run. Again, look at the state of Hollywood right now. Is Hollywood better off than it was before the double strikes? No, it is so much worse off. And the studios just use it as a reason to get rid of people. They're going to do the same thing here. Video game companies need voice actors less than Hollywood does. They're going to be like, we don't care. The players don't care. Right? We had video games for years without voice acting. Some of the most popular games on the planet don't have any voice acting. We'll make do. It's fine. Right? That's what they're going to do. And they're like, if you're going to be a problem, and we got to deal with these assholes at SAG, and they're going to be a problem, we're going to step over you. We've already showed you what we can do with the Aloy demo. We're not going to need you. In 5 years, we're not going to need voice actors. It would be nice to have voice actors. I'm not saying I hope voice actors are unemployed. That is not what I'm saying at all, because people are going to run with it. And they're, oh my God, Clownfish, you're bad people. No, ideally, yes. But if they press them, they will push back. They don't need you as much as you need them. Not anymore. They never really did. Like I said, we had games for years that had no voice acting. Actually, it was kind of jarring playing Final Fantasy X. Like, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, and going from like 9 to 10, and you have these, characters. When you're playing a Final Fantasy game, you kind of have their voices in your head, and then you see them on screen, and you're like, that's not what I thought they sounded like. Like Kingdom Hearts, I was like, that's not what I thought Cloud sounded like. But okay. Okay, I guess celebrity voices, whatever. This person here, Platinum, says, I think it's clear to everyone that SAG doesn't care about its members. Based on previous decisions and this, they definitely only care about their own power and wealth. This is true of WGA. We're going to talk about that too. It's the same thing. Because any sane person could see that they're crippling their members' future employment chances, since I cannot see anyone wanting to hire a SAG member, especially if this shit can happen again. They've already been stepping over voice actors. Netflix has been stepping over voice actors. And I remember that was a big thing because I'm a huge Transformers fan. And I remember when they did the Netflix Transformers show that Peter Cullen and Frank Welker were very angry that they didn't get called in as Optimus and Megatron. They hired sound-alikes in Texas, but they didn't want to deal with the unions. They didn't want to pay union dues, and it's Netflix. They can just kind of, and I think Rooster Teeth was actually doing, if I remember correctly, Rooster Teeth was doing the animation for that one. But they didn't then run around Hollywood and, would the show have done better? I mean, it would have been nice to have Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. I mean, it's always nice to have Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, but like if they didn't want to deal with them or they couldn't afford them or whatever, people still watch the show. I don't know if they watched it enough, but they still watched it. It wasn't as good as it could have been probably, but whatever. Perfect Chaos 83. It's more that SAG doesn't care about voice actors. They sure as shit care for big name actors in Hollywood. It's the small fry writers and voice actors they give zero fucks about. And I think it's so funny. The most backlash we have gotten from people are people that either have never really worked in Hollywood. They've just done kind of like odd jobs here and there, or they're really low on the totem pole. And they're the ones getting all ass mad that we were calling out the unions during the strikes that we thought, it was overreaching and they were being ridiculous, not even letting people talk about shows from 20 years ago, not letting people go to a freaking Comic-Con if they're not promoting their movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's ironic given the fact that unions are supposed to protect those exact small fries. No, the big actors are still getting work, but guess what? All you that took time off and went out and got sunburnt holding those picket signs, thinking you were going to get hired again at Netflix when this all blew over, and now you're busting tables, and now you're on the verge of losing your house. Was it worth it? I'm just saying, they really don't care about you. They don't. America, the place where unions actively fuck over the little guys while benefiting the richest of the members. Yeah, those big actors are still getting work. Why else do you think you have to earn a certain amount in order to get any health insurance out of it? Yeah, that's the most insane part to me. Like, shouldn't you prioritize the members not making money, you fucking ghouls? Some of you may lose your career, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. SAG probably. This is interesting. Reddit is turning on SAG. Not only Genshin, is it Honkai, Star Rail, ZZZ, okay, that was what it was. I'm sorry. I got it wrong. I think it was ZZZZZ. It was the game. It was one of the MiHoYo games. And they were dogpiling the actor. I don't remember who exactly it was. I think it was Shara who said to Jacob, good looking, hired again. Hoyo is a money printing machine with how things are going. Not only Hoyo, but Asian developers will think twice before using USA voice actors. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that, look, they're already replacing them. So this is in Honkai Star Rail. Hoyo has started to replace English voice actors that have been striking. So this is in Star Rail, right? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I've never even played that one. But yeah, they said change the voice actors for Agents Kalita, Grace, Rena, replaces the corresponding voice lines. Yeah, they're replacing you. They're replacing you. This has been going on. Went on ZZZ for a while, and the Hoyo versus and the one responsible for casting, recasting actors. They're stepping over you. So, who is this person? My name is displayed properly as Corey Landis, and I voice Welt. Okay. I don't have much to offer, but I figured I'd chime up with my thoughts. Okay. I wasn't aware there was a strike going on with other voice actors until someone told me. Yeah, I mean, somebody comes to you with a gig and you're not paying attention, what do you do? I get the memo. Not exactly sure what the ins and outs are, but this is a non-union project. And I assume some voice actors are striking out of solidarity with their union brothers and sisters, which I respect. It's not something I've chosen to do. The company running the show gets to make whatever decisions they think are best for the bottom line. Yeah, exactly. And perhaps that includes no longer continuing to work with actors who weren't available when they were needed. Exactly. I don't know. Also, scuttlebutt about the strike and actors not being available could also provide cover for getting rid of other actors who have been willing to work all along. Yes. Again, I don't know. One never knows. Please remember that. I mean, I was told not from the company, but from scuttlebutt that I was on my way out because they were auditioning people for Weld. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Rather, it hasn't happened yet. I say yet because, and I assume other actors are in the same boat, I don't have a contract. And I literally do not know when I have a recording session or if I'll be back or if I'll even get a call. So I guess all I can say is if you like certain actors, you're afraid they're going to be fired, afraid they will be fired, don't want them replaced, be vocal about let the powers that be know. I'd say vote with your feet. Well, here's the thing. Maybe they want to come back, but they're not allowed to. They're being bullied. They're being bullied. They're not allowed to come back. They're union, even if it's a non-union project. That's what I'm saying. The unions tried to shut us up. They wanted us to join to shut us up. People like us to join to shut us up. So we weren't allowed to talk about the strikes on YouTube. And I'm like, that is massive overreach. Like, get fucked. You know, it's like, I don't care. It's like, that is massive overreach. Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to come back. Aren't allowed to. So let's talk about it here, this real quick before I wrap this video up. This is the WGA. This has been going on too. So the WGA is seeking to discipline 4 writers for breaking guild rules during the 2023 strikes. 3 of the writers, Edward John Drake, Roma Roth, and Julie Bush, were accused of performing forbidden writing services in violation of union solidarity. I can almost guarantee you there were people that were in the union that were writing under pen names or whatever, doing work on their, banking all this work on their hard drive. And then they just like pull it out like, hey, Netflix, look, I've got 10 episodes of a new season written. I did it last night. Amazing how that works. A 4th member, Tim Doyle, is accused of making an off-color joke in a Facebook group of fellow writers. Wait, what? The WGA West board voted to expel Drake and Roth, the severest form of punishment for guild rule violations. Holy hell. Bush was given a temporary suspension and a lifetime ban on serving as a strike captain, while Doyle was given a public censure. All 4 are appealing the decision to the general membership. The 3 other, why do you have to grovel to these people? See, this is what I'm talking about. Why would anybody on the outside looking in, why the hell would you join? When you know all the production's moving out of California anyway, right? And they're willing to, like, if you want to get an animated series picked up, the best thing you could do is test market it on YouTube and then pitch it. And then, it's a non-union project. You do it yourself. Find some back, whatever. Like this is just nonsense. They were going around trying to like look at everybody's movie posters and see if they were using AI and all this other crazy shit. Like they were zooming in close on, I can't remember what movie it was off the top of my head. I think it was it Civil War? It might have been Civil War. They were like zooming in real close, trying to be like, well, I think this might be AI. And you guys are using AI and we're striking against AI and you're bad. Oh, that movie looks like it used AI. You're bad. It's like they're going to do what they got to do to get this shit out the door, right? I mean, they got to make money too. It's like you guys want more money, but the studio doesn't make money and like it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go because it's a global market now. They can get content from wherever. In the case of Netflix, some of their biggest shows are coming from Korea and Japan, right? They don't need you. They really don't. They're just like, whatever. God. So this is ridiculous. Now you have to grovel. In written memos, each of the 4 writers asked the membership to overturn the board's decision. Several argued that they had been subjected to an unfair process and had been tormented with the fear of public shaming and the ensuing consequences for their public shaming. I'm sorry I wrote a Netflix pitch during the strike. The board should not be able to intimidate, conduct unfair trials, dole out retaliatory discipline without due process, or disregard the recommendations of its committees and investigators. Drake wrote, "This has been a horrible ordeal, one I hope you never have to go through. I've been living under the guillotine of fear for months. I could wake up and the board would have publicly announced my unfair expulsion. Drake. Okay, so I've never even heard of this movie. This isn't like this guy's going to work for Marvel or something. Drake was a writer-director of an independent film, Guns Up, which was in production in Jersey during the strike. The WGA board alleged that Drake engaged in scab writing during production and that he refused to turn over drafts of the script to guild investigators. Who would want to work like that? I mean, seriously, I don't understand. This is ridiculous. Who the hell would want to turn their careers over to people like this? And then if you don't do what they want, and you don't think that I guarantee you, this is what happens like a lot of times if you have an agent, like a literary agent, and they got a whole bunch of clients. I guarantee you, if you're not their favorite, you're gonna be an also ran. Like they're gonna give all the work to their favorites, the ones they think are gonna get the bigger advances or whatever. And you're the backup. You're never gonna be the bride. You're always gonna be the bridesmaid. The only way you're gonna be the bride is if you take control of your own career, right? And this bullshit, holy hell. Drake was also accused of refusing to identify a person who rewrote the ending of the film and who was not a guild member. Oh my God. His name is GPT. Chadrick GPT. We call him Chat. Yes, maybe you've heard of him. He's from Australia. He doesn't have to play by your rules. The trial committee explained to Drake the importance of identifying the strikebreaker so the guild could take action against an individual who undermined the strike. What kind of McCarthy fucking bullshit is this? Drake still refused. Yeah, I wouldn't. Drake argued that he was being punished for refusing to name names. He also argued they made adjustments and tweaks to the script in his capacity as the film's director, and they did so in accordance with the Directors Guild of America guidelines. Yeah, apparently the directors were allowed to tweak things. Such minor script revisions, I almost said reversions. Such minor script revisions are the subject of a decades-long dispute between the WGA and DGA. Yeah, apparently they some of the showrunners and the directors got to continue working. They could make minor tweaks to scripts, but they weren't allowed to just write stuff whole cloth. The trial committee recommended an 18-month suspension and offered to restore Drake's membership if he would identify the person who rewrote the ending. What the fuck? The board voted to increase the discipline to expulsion and publicly identify Drake. According to Drake's appeal, the motion to expel was offered by Adam Conover. Adam Conover. Adam ruins everything. What the fuck? Adam fucking Conover wants to ruin this guy's career. Oh, fuck this. If you believe Adam Conover and the board should have to explain why they went against the recommendations of their own investigator, head of the Strike Rules Compliance Committee and Trial Committee, the governing systems of the WGA has in place to ensure fair treatment of its members, and please vote to overturn their expulsion. A motion expel. God. Wow. Fuck that guy. I used to watch his show. Fuck you. In response, the WGA board argued that Drake had shown contempt for the proceedings. Yeah, I would too. And had stormed out of a hearing on several occasions. Every guild member knows what it means when there's a strike. Pencils down, the board wrote. Edward Drake did not go pencils down during the strike. He's going to get a call from Netflix and he's going to be in a better place. They're going to be like, yeah, hey, yeah, bro, you want to come work for us? Holy shit. Roth is a Canadian writer who was working as the showrunner in series Sullivan's Crossing, Nova Scotia, when the strikes began. According to the WGA board, 2 writers in the show are informed that the guild that Roth participated in a Zoom writer's room and engaged in other writing activity during the strike. The evidence established that during the strike, Roth broke stories, revised outlines, rewrote scripts, and gave instructions, directions, or suggestions to other writers regarding stories and teleplays. In her defense, Roth argued that she had ended her writing contract once the strike began and continued on the show as a non-writing executive producer. She wrote that she was shocked by the harsh discipline and did not anticipate that the WGA would construe my producing work as performing writing services. They're desperate as fuck. They're desperately trying to control everything. They're trying to control everything. I'm so shocked that Conover was the one that wanted to boot this guy out. Like, what? He's doing an independent movie in New Jersey. In New Jersey. What the fuck is it to you? I mean, seriously, what the fuck is it to you? If I were a studio head, I would look at this and be like, yeah, one guy we're never going to call for anything is fucking Adam Conover because he's going to ruin everything. Roth, who is also an executive producer on Virgin River, is a dual member of the WGA and the Writers Guild of Canada. Show is produced under the WGC jurisdiction, which required Roth to get a waiver from the WGA as the production company was not a signatory to the WGA contract, blah, 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 blah. She also stated 2 writers who testified against her were biased due to personal grievances. Yeah, so they're narking on each other. This is McCarthyism. This is some bullshit. Fuck this shit. Why would you want to be part of this? Why would you want to be part of this? I understand and respect the fact that you all have sacrificed a lot during the strike. Yeah, I mean, yeah, please. But this is not what people signed up for. They signed up for better working conditions, not McCarthyism, not having their friends and neighbors and their peers ratting them out and then having to go to trial and then getting publicly flawed by Adam fucking Conover of all people. I mean, come the fuck on. Please know that I would never have knowingly caused harm to you or the Guild. Many producers and writers outside the U.S. continue to work during the strike, including both writers who testified against me. Bush was charged with violating the Guild's prohibition against working for non-signatory companies. Bush was accused of turning in a revised draft of a pilot script for a show about Elon Musk and Tesla 3 weeks into the strike. I'm sure that's getting scrapped now. Scab writing cannot be tolerated, the board wrote. Oh, my God. Bush fought the charge. She argued her lawyers had closed the deal for the show on the eve of the strike and that she had exchanged numerous messages with the WGA. She was found to not have broken the strike rule because the company was not a signatory. She also said the company had promised not to become a signatory, but later reneged on their agreement and refused to pay her. Trial committee recommended a private letter of censure and a bar on serving as a strike captain for 3 years. Don't worry. There's not going to be much of an industry left in 3 years. You're fine. You're fine. Just cut your own deal with Netflix and move on. That's what's going to happen. Holy shit. Doyle was publicly censured via a mass email on the membership last July for a poor attempt at a joke on Facebook. In August of 2023, a member in the WGA Writers Facebook group posted about a strike milestone. Happy 100th day to all who observe. I just got my tree up. Doyle responded with an image of a silhouette of a man hanging from a branch. Doyle contended that the image was meant to reference his own suicide. It was gallows humor about the anxiety that writers were feeling about the future of the industry. Yes, and they were very correct. They were very correct in feeling that way. Again, here we are 2 years later, and most of you are out of work. I'm just saying, Adam ruined everything. Some of them took it as a racist depiction of lynching. He was accused of violating the WGA Constitution by engaging in a conduct prejudicial to the welfare of the Guild. A trial committee voted to give him a private censure. He was remorseful and did not intend to post an image of a lynching. No, I wouldn't have taken it. I mean, I'd be like, yeah, it's probably off color, but I wouldn't have taken it to that. The board upgraded the discipline to public censure and pushed back on concerns it was policing his speech on social media. No, they're policing your speech. They're like, well, your friend said that you were writing at 12:01 a.m. the day of the strike. Do you want to work in this town again? What does it matter? What does it matter? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, what does it matter anymore? Because they're going to step right over you. You're too expensive and you're a pain in the ass to deal with. And then on top of having to deal with the studios fucking you over, you got to deal with this McCarthyism shit. Who the hell would want to join the union? I'm just saying. You do you, boo. You think you've got an advantage? You do you. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.